Faith Life Family Wear is a faith-based crusted clothing accessory line that promotes our faith, life, family, and traditional marriage through fashion appropriate for both work and play. Shop now to look great, evangelize, and support Fiat Ministry Network. Share the good news about our website with your friends to encourage everyone to take a stand with style.
Stay connected with Fiat Ministry Network. Like us on Facebook. Stay updated at fiatministrynetwork.tv/feed. Follow us on Twitter at Fiat Ministry Net. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Fiat Ministry Network. Fiat Ministry Network, encouraging all to say yes to Jesus Christ.
Welcome to the Fiat Ministry Show, episode 100. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's having a good evening. First off, make sure to share this. I really appreciate if you could let everybody know to check it out. Please comment in the chat room or ask any questions. We'll be checking and monitoring the chat room tonight. Very exciting day, definitely in the Fiat Ministry Network. It took about 7 years, but a lot of summers off with family and friends, and helping out other people start up their shows. So finally, we kind of got together and said, "Okay, I'm gonna keep going." And we kind of started this whole thing with the idea of testimony and just, spreading the word and saying yes to Jesus Christ, and a lot of testimonies of their people's faith kind of got in my mind that I like to hear that, and why not use it in some kind of way of everybody has a little bit of a platform and they want to have their 5 minutes of fame. And so we started it, and I started actually in talking to my sister-in-law and her friend in my sister-in-law's family room, and saying, why don't we do this? And so I'm going to bring everybody on, say hi to everybody, and I just want to let everybody know, make sure to share this, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page. Also, make sure in the chat room to type in giveaway, and you can, if I have the book, I think I have the book in there. The book is actually Anthony's book. I've been moving around stuff, so it's probably not in here right now. So yeah, I took everything. Oh, there we go. Here's Anthony's book, A Cross of a Different Kind. Make sure you check it out. Type in the chat room on Facebook, or go to the website, fiatministrynetwork.tv/live, where you're probably watching. But when you go into the website, you can get about, I think we had up to 20 different ways to get the book. So make sure, Casey, welcome to the chat room, and thank you for checking it out. So giveaway, Casey, one word. It's one word giveaway, but that's okay. It should work. Hopefully it works. But that's one thing that we would like to promote. And again, thank you for everybody. I kind of wanted to say first off, and I when we started all this, my wife was, there you go, Casey, thank you. It was a lot of people helping out doing this. Hannah was a big part. My in-laws, really appreciate them. And also, hello, John. And thank you for them to supporting us and doing what we're doing right now. I remember in this room right now doing all these technical stuff, and my father-in-law had a diagram, and we were trying to get the audio to work, and it was fun. And so technology has really helped to improve this, and I am blown away. And I want to say one more thank you to a guy that's actually busy right now, and he's probably not watching this, but I sent him an email, and he'll get it probably next week around Wednesday. He was on the 9th show talking about Vit Blaster, and that's how we kind of started all this process of streaming and live streaming, and how do we get it out there. And I saw him on YouTube like everything else, and started watching him. Tom Sinclair, he's over in Vegas right now doing there's a huge live streaming, TV production, radio, everybody's out there. And he was the #1 person to get me the technology side of all of this, because it's a lot of technology, and I'm not going to ask a lot about supporting right now. Just prayers is great, but financially, yeah, it costs money to do this, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it. And he was on, and I loved the way he just approached everything, and a very, very Christian man. I know that for a fact as I talked to him. He really got me to where I'm at right now. A couple little path differences, and then we got back on the right path with just the right software and everything that we have to do. There's a workflow doing this, and the great part is the networking with all the guests, all the people that love their faith and want to express their faith. But there's also the technology side. And one thing he said, he had a party a couple of nights ago, and I was watching it, live streaming it, and he was streaming it, and he gave a great just how we have to work together. And this is not just you keep everything. It's a little piece of the pie here, a little piece of the pie here, a little piece of the pie here, and it's growing. And live streaming is growing. It's one of the most popular things out there right now. There are just great people out there that help me on the technical side, and then of course it's the faith side, and I'll bring in 3 people that really helped in that fashion of the faith side. But I just wanted to thank Tom Sinclair on here through a personal email that I sent him, because if it wasn't for him that I couldn't find a way to do this, I probably wouldn't be doing it. So he is huge in the process of what I'm doing right now. And so I really want to thank him. I think it's kind of hard to, imagine just doing all this now. And now you can bring in, and I can, it's just really great. And so I just want to bring in and say hello to these chats that are popping into the chat room. And so just to have the opportunity to have these people come on and say hi, that's really the technical side. So I just want to again thank you. And so let's go over to the people that I brought on. They probably are like, okay, enough with the soapbox of technology. Let's get to the faith, and I agree. So let's pop over, and I'm going to bring everybody over and say hi. Hello, everybody.
Hi, congratulations.
Hello.
100
episodes. So I don't know how it, I mean, it's pretty cool. I appreciate all three of you in different ways, but mostly because you taught me a lot. So on the faith side. So in the sense
definitely
of
not the technology side.
the technology side, I have a different
That's your
group
department.
that's a different group of people that I really, but I just want to start off with probably Hannah. I want to welcome Hannah Delott, Missy DeConti, and Al Smith. Those are three, and Hannah was kind of the beginning. So we had to have a guinea pig. And I had to have a guinea pig of how am I going to do this and know something. And you know, she knew her faith. I mean, that's one thing I knew from when I dated my wife. And again, thank you to Sarah, my wife. I used to always thank her because she was always trapped in the bedroom because she couldn't walk, because you could see the second episode where my whole family room is open, so she's trapped. So my in-laws decided to have a genius. Actually, I think it was my mother-in-law. She started it, and then I'll give them both credit, but I think it was my mother-in-law that mentioned, why don't you hang up something like a green screen so then she can walk by without even being noticed? And I'm like, that's genius, and let's do it. So really behind me, I know Jesus is very important, but really there's just a green screen and basically a old projector screen holding up a green screen. So that's the trick of that. But Hannah, I'm going to start with Hannah, and then I'm going to work my way around. And Missy, you're last, but I've talked to you all the time.
Yeah. Hey, the last will be first will be last.
Exactly.
She has the best smile. So yeah, go ahead, take it away, Hannah.
Okay, Hannah, I'm going to pop you over, and let's see that works. Hey, but how about that? And so there we go. Hannah, I know there was, a lot of things in the past, and we started it. I was I didn't know where to go. And so what do you remember doing the second show? Do you remember anything, or do you remember the conversations that we've did before we started all this? Do you remember anything?
I remember some. I know that we did some conversations about like discernment, because
Yep.
at the time I was very heavily discerning a vocation to religious life. And then I think we did a lot of episodes on pro-life ministry and talking about the saints. Yeah, those are the ones I remember.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pop over. Let's see how we're. Yeah, there's always a different way of doing this, but and one thing I do remember talking and saying, how do we do this? And it was like, okay, all these different technical things and all that. That was the biggest hurdle, because the faith that you had and what is so like over, above my head at times. And I really appreciate that you took the effort to take advantage of just helping out, because if I didn't have, someone to, work with and kind of, mold what Fiat was going to be, we wouldn't be talking right now, and so I really appreciate it. And one thing I noticed, and we'll bring into the tech, not the technical stuff, but the whole aspect of what Fiat is right now. And I know, talking to Missy and Cardinal Burke is a big part of our benchmarks of how do we, if it's good with Cardinal Burke, it's good with Fiat. And I know you actually met him at a mass, and if you wanted to just share that really quick, and then we'll play the little video. Just thank you. I just want to thank you and thank you to your family, because I know it's very small in the minute part of the the church doing something like this. It's not, there's so many people out there doing it, but for me, it's humbling that we started together. The first episode was not even a video; it was a podcast, basically, because the video didn't work. Good old Skype back then. Anyways, I go against that. Okay, but what with Cardinal Burke, and if you wanted to share just a little bit of of that, and just how kind of Cardinal Burke, and maybe bring Fiat somewhere into that. But when you met him, and did you get to chat with him at all, or was it kind of just a shake and a thank you, or just give me a little insight?
Yeah, so I guess it would be last year or maybe 2016. I was living in La Crosse, Wisconsin at the time, at a program discerning a vocation to religious life. And the program I was attending was Mad Redemptorist. And so we were living with a lot of nuns and other girls who were attending that program with me. And so we all went to this mass that he was doing. And I guess my job at the mass was to help bring up the gifts. And so I just remember him being on the altar and him just sitting right there, and I'm walking straight towards him and just walking up the steps, and I was just shaking, trying not to drop anything. So I'm like, oh my goodness, it's Cardinal Burke. And so, and so I guess that's how I met him first. And then after the mass, we actually got to talk to him for a little bit, and I got to tell him that I was discerning religious life and how life was going, and that I might have told him about your show, I'm not sure, but I remember coming home on a break, or maybe just coming home from the program, and hearing that you got to talk, I guess, on your show or something, Missy. And him praying for me that I'd have a safe flight. And he's like, oh yeah, I remember Hannah. We met back in Wisconsin.
No, it's amazing. So yeah,
it really is amazing.
Well, let's play the. It's dreadfully painful to watch because I had to watch it, and I had to watch the first episode of the show. I call it the first episode. It's actually episode 2, but it's a very. I was a wreck. I didn't know what I was doing. But let's play that for everybody to enjoy and get a good laugh, and I can just. Be as small as I can. So here we go. This is episode 2 of the Fiat Ministry Show with Hannah DeLotte. But I just want to let everybody know what we're doing. We're just kind of this is our way of starting a introduction to everybody's Fiat moment, or why you said yes to Christ, or why do you continue to say yes to Christ. What's your influences, your ways of just keep digging into your faith. And we like to express with other people how they keep saying yes, or what happened in their lives, that Fiat moment, that time that said that yes to Christ, and I want to live my life for Christ. We have a great guest. Actually, she's one of my best sister-in-laws, my favorites. One of the two. They're actually twins, and her name is Hannah Delott. She also had her friend on. Sarah B was on actually the first podcast, which was just an audio podcast, but hopefully she'll come back on. And I just want to say hello, Hannah, and welcome to the Fiat podcast. And how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing really good, really good. Thanks for asking.
So, first off, yes, you are married to my wife, or yeah, married. You are a sister, my wife's sister. Wow, that was bad. We'll do something different for that. But anyways, we're trying to get this up and going. So, but you are my wife's sister, right? That's better off. Okay. And we hopefully have I have a lot of respect, and I'm just wanted to have you on, and I know you have a lot to share. And first off, like we're gonna try to do for each of these podcasts, what was your Fiat moment? What gave you that urge to say yes and to keep saying yes? And what just a little bit about yourself, and just what's your Fiat moment?
Well, I'm 18 years.
And so that's the embarrassing second episode. We couldn't even like fill up the whole like space. It was at 360p, which is a very it's standard depth. We're now running at 1080p and blah blah blah. But
all that techie stuff that we don't even care about or understand, whatever. You do your little magic and make it happen. That's all we care about.
So I'm going to move over to Al, and just because he kind of, he's that middleman. He has, you got to have a good reliever. You got to have, Hannah's kind of that, the starter. And the person that we had to start it at some point, and so now Al, I'll go with him as the reliever, telling me where to go, how to move around, and because I noticed, and one thing I've noticed was we did one show, I couldn't find like an actual Fiat because we had other people talking, and all the other hosts I want to thank. It's kind of like a college or any kind of job, or people come in and out of hosting and not hosting and all that. So there's a lot of hosts in the past that I do appreciate as they came on, teaching them some of the ropes of how to do this, and then I'm learning how to do all this faith. That was amazing, the networking. But Al, right when he saw us, said, I gotta pop on. I gotta move this to the right direction. And so, Al, I'm gonna bring you on. And so, if you could give us a little insight of what you were thinking, or how everything was going with the beginning of your experience in Fiat.
Yeah, it was a total God incidence that I even found Fiat. It was you had done a show with a friend of mine, David Wang, who is a musician in Canada, who played for the Holy Father on World Youth Day, and so it was kind of through my friendship with him and him appearing on one of your earlier episodes that kind of tweaked me to say maybe I should look into this and check out, this whole internet television thing and these broadcasts, and because I've been on the radio for years, so radio is my forte. It's where I feel most comfortable, and I always say I have a great face for radio. It's kind of it's the way it is, but and so it was, I watched episode 2 and just thought, what, I love what you're doing. I want to be able to help where I can, and I just was inspired by the Holy Spirit to just stay and just say, you know, put me in, Coach. Whenever you want my help, I'll fill in. And I think I did that. There was an opportunity where either through an illness or a scheduling thing, you asked me to host a show, and the next thing you know, you go, I love doing this, and I think you and I, you let me do 53 shows or 54 shows.
Yes.
Hungry for more. I had to kind of come up with a name. You had interviewed me probably about 3 or 4 times just as a guest to all of my work I have done with the Sheen Foundation and propagating the cause of Bishop Sheen, and still involved with that today, and still host 2 radio shows each week, one on Radio Maria and another one on a regular radio station. And of course, the website you've just put up, bishopsheentoday.com, and just sharing Bishop Sheen with whoever will listen and who will ever read. I mean, it's just, it's one of those things. We just share the love, and happy to do that. So, but, being interviewed a few times and sharing the work that we were doing in North America, promoting Bishop Sheen. But then again, I think you invited me to say, hey, would you like to host your own show and bring in some guests that you're, my connections and people I've known over the years. And I think 54 shows later, we had enough for a couple of years. And it's funny because, you think that no one will see these shows or they'll never make much of an impact. But I can tell you honestly, I've had so many times where I'll be in a little town where I don't know anybody, and I thought they wouldn't know me, but they come up to me and say, I saw you on the Fiat Ministry Network. You were interviewing John Horvath, and I love his book, and I love that you brought that whole issue up. I saw you interviewing the editor of 10 books, Dr. Paul Thigpen. I saw you, so people are watching, people are listening. And even though you think, no one will ever watch this show or no one will ever see it, it's surprisingly how many people see it. And we had a number of our videos go viral where tens of thousands of people saw it, and you thought, this is the way the Holy Spirit works. So just have faith, do the work. I'm not the greatest speaker. I'm not the greatest orator. I probably use my hands way too much, and I've always got them up there. I think the first words that I ever spoke were with my hands. So I just continue to do that. So, but Kent, hey, thank you for being open to suggestion. And it's like anything. There's a season for everything. God allows people to come in, and it may only be for a year or two, but it was necessary. And I grew as a person. And I think one of the greatest gifts you will experience when you have to host something is that you have to do the homework. I always say I've learned my faith because I knew I had a show coming up and I had to study. And it's amazing how personally I've grown because I've had to go do my homework. If I'm going to interview someone about a topic, I better know the topic. And so it is a great way to learn your faith. Become a radio host, become an internet television host, and you learn your faith. I trust you. Trust me. Well, and so that's, again, thank you.
No, and I just want to, thank you because you've done, we've done many shows together on Hungry for More, and trying to find a topic, and that's part of the thing is, and saying to everybody that's watching, if you want to come on, if you know someone that you would like to invite or it would be a great guest, let me know. That's sometimes part of it is the research, and then the other part is trying to, but people will say yes. They want to, I think that's a big thing, is they want to say yes to just coming on, and then they already have the yes of Jesus Christ, because there's something that, either they're an author or something that they've already had that little insight. So I just want to, thank you again for, your time on Fiat. And I know Bishop Fulton Sheen, your work there is always amazing. So keep up the great work.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And, you know, my first book that I wrote is going to come out in September, published by Sophia Institute Press. And it's a book on the 7 last words. It's an anthology, a collection of Sheen's writing on the 7 last words. And so, you know, September, October, they've kind of given me a timeline of the fall. And we'll, of course, be on Fiat Ministry Network promoting the book and sharing it with all who will listen. And so excited. Good things happen to those who wait. And it took me a couple of years to put it all together and, of course, find the right publisher. And Sophia Institute Press is connected to EWTN. And so, again, a great you know, family to be a part of. So excited for the future, especially with sharing this book of the writings of the 7 last words from Fulton J. Sheen. So we will keep you posted.
Yes,
we will keep you posted.
Please do.
Yes.
And so finally, and I'm getting, you know, it's just kind of going back with everything that's going on, and the next guest kind of came out of nowhere with the technology here nowadays with Facebook, and we're not going to go through all the issues with Facebook right now, but that's not part of Fiat at all. But there is a connection that you can make in social media, and that's how it happened with Missy and I. We kind of, I was trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do to promote? What can we help someone else in the sense of maybe they can sell some items and we can, you know, promote them and have, you know, some kind of connection together, some kind of way of helping each other, because that's one thing. Again, I'm gonna go back a little techie too, because there's 2 parts of this. It's techie and the faith, and Tom Sinclair saying you got to be together, you got to help each other, or it's not going to work. And so that's how I was, you know, focusing is, okay, how do I help someone else and then help, you know, promote Fiat. And so I ran around Faith Life Family Wear. There's .com. And okay, and so I sent a message, and Missy, you know, we talked. I remember the first time we talked. It was for about 2 hours at 11 o'clock at night. It was just like, okay, we have to go to bed. But it was everything that I thought, you know, how everything works with God is just amazing. And so I just, you know, we're kind of a team now. We're working together with other situations, and we can talk about that sometime down the road. But I know, well, you know what I have to do, Al? I have to play I'll play yours right after I play Missy's video. We'll do both of them at the same time. So let's bring on Missy, and just Missy, welcome again. I know I want to drag you back onto the host. I know people want to drag you on, but I'll let you just do the behind the scenes. You can market like no one else. I know that for a fact. But anything you would like to say about your experience on the first time you were on Fiat? Anything?
Oh boy, that was something. Well, it took me by surprise, and I never thought of being on a show and talking about my Fiat, and it was a great situation that really got the ball rolling for so many ideas. I was already doing Faith Life Family, which, if anyone's not familiar with, faithlifefamilywear.com. It's the clothing line that promotes, I'm wearing it, it's pro-life, pro-faith, pro-family, pro-traditional marriage for the whole family. And so we were doing that, but I just never thought of being on internet TV. not a techie person, whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And when you approached me about it, it was the Holy Ghost. It totally was the Holy Ghost. Al stole my thunder when he said it, because when he said, I thought that's exactly what I always say is, it was like the words just came spilling out of my mouth of, yeah, we'll do a show and it'll be Faith Life Family. And it'll be the same thing as the name of my clothing. And before I could stop myself, it just all spilled out. And I thought, oh my goodness, the first one I want to have is Bobby Schindler, because, I want more people to know about the struggle of, euthanasia being pushed throughout the world, not to mention, in America. And I wanted to shed more light on that. And then, I just thought, I am a very conservative Catholic. I am a traditional Catholic girl. We've gone to the Latin Mass for nearly 25 years. And I thought, I love Mother Angelica. We're blessed to meet her, and go down to her shrine and everything. And I pray for her intercession all of the time. But one thing that I noticed is not really on EWTN and or anywhere else are things that are of a very traditional nature. The traditional Latin Mass. For one, but a lot of things that have been lost through the ages that are golden candy kisses from heaven. And I just started thinking, well, these are things that I know about by the grace of God. What better way than to start sharing those things with the general public through internet TV? So I did, I was blessed to do a show with, thanks be to God, I had a connection with Cardinal Burke and asked him to come on to discuss the dubia. And really for the sheer reason is I love that man so much. I respect him so much. I just wanted an excuse to be able to talk to him and thank him, on a public forum, telling him how much we Catholics, the faithful, love him and appreciate everything he does for Holy Mother Church. I thought it was about time. He's really been put through the ringer. But, like I said, we had Bobby Schindler, we had Cardinal Burke, we had Father Chris Alar, the priest that knows everything there is to know about divine mercy, something that no one should just let scoot by them without taking advantage of. And unfortunately, a lot of people do. A lot of people dismiss it, thinking, oh, that's just something that's not meant for us or whatever. So my goal is to try to just inform everyone of things that have kind of been thrown to, oh, that's something of the past, brown scapulars and different blessings and, bringing on, I guess, going forward, I've kind of gotten away from being in front of the camera. I'm not a big fan of doing it, as you know, Ken. I begrudgingly get in front of the camera. People say, oh, you must love it. You're just chatty Cathy and you just love being in front of the camera. Well, no. I, just like everyone else, is self-conscious and think that I make mistakes and I don't want to be in front of the camera, but I'm dynamite with ideas and being behind the camera. So the front and front, not so big, but so, I have, brought on, fabulous people like Hugh Owen, who, has done, and we have it available on DVD, the Creation series, Creation versus Evolution, and Brian Walsh, again, another DVD with the Shroud of Turin presentation that he does. That's fabulous. And bringing on, we're going to be having the Latin Mass on a regular basis. We're going to be having some dynamite priests having their own show by the grace of God. And we'll be helping to teach people the faithful, because we're not just Fiat Ministry Network. We are truly Catholic teachings. And if anyone has any questions about the faith, whether they're Catholic or not, feel free to write in to Fiat Ministry Network. And if we don't have the answer, we'll get it for you, because we have the resources. And that is our goal. There's no money being made here. As Kent, you mentioned, we don't get paid to do any of this. We need donations desperately. But the whole goal is to help save one soul at a time. And that was one thing that intrigued me, and I loved it, and I still love it. Just loving it a little bit more behind the scenes. Occasionally, I will come out of retirement and come on and do a show. But I think I did enough that there's enough material there for everybody to start watching and share with others. And anybody has any suggestions of anything they wanted me to do a show on, write to us, missy@flfware.com. And Al, don't you write, because I know you'll do it just for the heck of it. But no, but honestly, if anybody has a guest that they'd like to see come on, or a subject that needs to be discussed, I'm more than happy to do it. So,
well,
that's it.
And so I just want to thank you all. I'm going to play a couple
Mm-hmm.
videos, and then we're going to come back and kind of, if someone would like to do closing prayer. I'm like, we forgot to pray at the beginning.
Yeah, but you should lead the prayer. I mean, you're the guy that started it all.
I'll end the. Okay, I'll do that, and hopefully it won't go. I get
As long as it's from the heart, it doesn't matter. It'll be great.
I get scolded by Al if I go too long. Okay, you gotta go, but I'll end it. And again, let's just play a couple videos. They're short, and we'll do Al's show first, and then we'll go with Missy. And here we go. I think we always bring that up, is how do we, either through these great videos that we do and audio that people hopefully will listen to, but what can we do as a, I love this idea of, going up to the priest and, saying, let's actually plan on making a ministry at the parish that the laity will run, all these different ways of doing it, but do we really put the effort? And I think we're trying to do it here, but what are your kind of things that you're doing, as
Well, I think what you have to do is be a little bit countercultural. I always say you have to kind of go against the grain a little bit, but you have to set yourself up for success. So, for example, people know me as Al the Gas Man. Okay, I've been in 25,000 basements over 30 years, fixing pipes, and so I've seen a lot of neat basements. I've seen basements that have everything, like a Toronto Maple Leaf, museum, Toronto Blue Jay, Montreal Canadiens. So the sporting teams up here in Canada, I've seen beautiful shrines. So
now I am going to
which is good.
Introduce Missy.
Oh, this is me, isn't it?
Onto the show.
I don't know.
He got a haircut. He's always wearing the red shirt.
Welcome, Missy. How are you doing?
You
today?
for all the shows.
Great, Ken. How are you
there we
doing?
go.
I am doing great.
Oh, I can only imagine what the heck I'm saying. I can't even hear it.
I
That's
just started.
well.
I just amazing how things have really
That was the hard. I mean, trying to find
worked out in the Holy
just went
Spirit,
from the
Holy Ghost,
beginning.
and just
Oh, that's
how,
with my heavenly glow.
our paths met.
Yeah, you had to.
But
The halo.
with the Fiat
Yeah, that's
Ministry
what-
Show,
yeah.
we always
Yeah.
start with our
Norman
guests
mentioned
giving out our their
Oh, did he
Fiat
really?
moments.
There's a couple.
Could you
There's
give
a
us a
couple
little bit of
comments,
background of
from
your,
my father-in-law, for
family and
ideas
everything
for
with your
shows,
faith
Missy.
journey?
Oh, good.
Just a little bit of insight of where you
Pop 'em up.
came from.
And we only have an hour.
45 minutes. No.
All right, okay. I can do that.
So, all right. So I'm gonna pop back on, and we're back. So again, thank you all. I thank you for the comments in the chat room. I'll pop them up if everybody can see them. John, Missy has a show that we could do. Oh, it's the next one that's popping up. So how about the show on Humana Vitae? It's 50-year anniversary. So
That's a good idea.
but thank you, John. And thank you, everybody that's watching. Of course, I want to thank all three of you.
Thank you.
There's not. I'm very small. I haven't done as much as anyone else, but I told him I told in the email to Hannah and thanking Sarah and my in-laws that it might have been not 1 million people. It wasn't probably 1,000 people. It's not maybe 100 people, but that one person that, like Al was mentioning, that saw something on Fiat and just starting this thing that we call internet broadcasting, live streaming, with trying to spread the word, could, make a soul change their minds and find Jesus in their own ways and saying yes. I truly do appreciate all of you. I do appreciate everybody in the chat room. I do, again, thank you. Congratulations. Let's prop that one up. On the text side, Tom Sinclair, it's not as easy as it looks. It's not as easy as it looks to do this. I know that for a fact doing it. It's just part of just loving the faith, loving live streaming, knowing that there's something about this, doing this, can maybe bring someone to the faith. And you got to try something. You got to do something, or, I don't know what I'm spinning my wheels, and that's one thing. The technology, again, saved me many, many hours. And so I appreciate that, because you have to understand your family first, and knowing that family comes first. And now with everything that's happened from 7 years, from going to VitBlaster and Skype freezing up and all that, and learning many, many things, like Hannah did Saints and all the people that we've met over the years through either, Missy or Al's show, or the other people, Andy McNutt, and, we got a couple other, I know,
a future Saint's mother.
Yeah.
I still can't believe, that's just neat.
And that, so there's a lot of just amazing stuff that happened so far, and it will continue. I'm not closing shop.
So it's
I've done enough tonight. It's almost 10, but I'll end with prayer, and we can end with prayer. And just again, thank you everybody that was watching. Please, number one, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe or like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, everything that we say every week. Also, make sure you do try to check out what we're doing or coming up, because there's a lot of stuff that's happening with Fiat that we're really excited about. In many hours of just trying to figure out what to do, what to continue to do, we're planning and hoping to get the faith to you and the truth. And so Truly Catholic Teaching Facebook or group, check that out for any comments or anything that you would like to ask. We'll definitely find the answers for you. And thank you again, all three of you, and we'll end in prayer and we'll call it a night. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Lord, thank you for this evening. Thank you for allowing us to do what we did, in the sense of just the love that we have for you, to go from just doing our own to spreading it through this amazing technology that you allow us to use to spread the word. Thank you for all the amazing people, Hannah, Al, and Missy, just for coming onto the show tonight. It's very humbling to have people and networks of all these people that, in a sense, that sometimes you'll never be able to shake their hand or give them a hug and thank them, but to have a relationship with them through this way that allows friendships and relationships to grow. Let people hear us in the sense that our faith is so important and people need to come back to you and say yes to you. Give us the strength to allow us to continue this and to not give up, not to surrender to the evil one in any situation that we face. And just thank you for our families. Thank you for our friends. Thank you for the people we'll watch in their own time. It was a humbling evening, knowing that a lot of people through these 7 years have mattered and have just loved for you. And so in your name we pray, in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Again, thank you. We will be back next week. I will, guess. But again, I just wanna. It's very humbling. I was driving home, and this is the last thing, and I'll let you all go. And you guys driving home, and it's not. Usually, you're
gonna make us cry, aren't you?
I'm gonna cry.
Like during the prayer, I was like,
I'm
no,
already. But no, I'll try
we love
not.
You, kids.
But it's very cool what you can do, and I was watching this, and these people are, I'll probably never be able to, unless I get a passport, to shake Al's hand. Or I can't. I know I could give Hannah hugs, anytime we get together. But Missy, unless we figure out, and I know there's things, but for all the people throughout 100 episodes that were guests, or that you guys had guests, to meet, to know, to at least talk to for half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever. It's very powerful to have a relationship, even though it's not a personal, touching relationship. There is a relationship, and that's part of the community, and that's one thing that we want to be as a body of Christ. And community is very important for everyone. We're human, and so I think about that all the time, and to see different ways that ways that when you eventually do meet someone, it's so humbling. And so someday I will give both of you guys a hug, Al and Missy. But it's
and John Paul and Gianna.
I'll give everybody. I know.
Our behind the scenes crew. Yep.
But I will eventually give you guys a hug. Hannah, I'll give you a hug next time I see you. Don't worry about that one. I'm leaving you out. But anyways, I will let everybody have a great evening. Thank you for watching the 100th episode of the Fiat Ministry Show. We'll see you next week. God bless and have a good evening.
Yes.